We earn money, save money, and buy things. Living beyond the economic cycle is impossible. What trends are dictated by world markets and how does it affect consumers? Watch it in People and Economy. World banks are getting rid of white-collar workers. Only last year, almost 15,000 specialists lost their jobs. The reason of such staff reductions has become a global application of computer technologies, smart terminals and assistant robots. Nevertheless, we can observe another trend. It is a fact that financial sector workers do not set a high value on their positions. Each third one changes profession even without having worked in his company for 5 years. The statistic shows Shirin Asanova is one of such workers. She decided to change piles of documents, a noisy office and dress code on a work with no fixed hours, a glassy hall and dancers. I understood that I was wishing something more and new which would give me delight. Finally, I transformed my hobby into my work. The number of people like Shirin is growing day by day. Statistically, about 50% of specialists do not want to work in offices and dream about flexible work schedule. Some of them open their own businesses, others become freelancers. Freelancing allows a person to work for several employers. Such people are not taken on the staff. Because of that, there is no need to dismiss them or conclude some agreements. Freelancers feel themselves happy in comparison with full-time office workers, sociologists say. The absence of paperwork, a flexible work schedule and being one's own boss, no doubt, attract people. However, not everything is as smooth as it would seem at the first glance. According to experts, such type of activity is related with certain risks. The absence of a stable work, untimely remuneration and problems with self-discipline are only some of them. And whereas a freelancer has to weigh all the pros and cons, for an employer, non-staff workers are an advantage. According to the statistics, such type of personnel cost 30 and sometimes even 50% cheaper than staff workers. Freelancers are quite popular. Among them there are a lot of creative persons, designers, artists, stage directors and scriptwriters. Few companies are interested in employing the entire group of designers as far as they don't always have a work for them. After becoming freelancers, the majority of workers settle at home. They do not spend their money in order to get to their offices and make up their own timetable. Those who cannot work at home prefer co-working. Co-working is a space where you can rent your workplace. It means that there is no need to rent the entire office. Instead of that, you can lease only a part of this office. It is especially typical for professionals who work independently or in small groups, such as IT workers, architects and designers. A workplace like this costs about $200. According to recruiters, almost 30% of dislocated specialists start to work almost 30% more efficiently in comparison with a usual work schedule. For instance, earlier a worker was subordinated to a manager who used to tell him what to do and in what time. But after becoming a freelancer, this worker will control the entire process himself. Outsourcing is another type of dislocated work. It implies hiring workers from other companies with the same areas of activity, mainly technical and financial. For example, currently about 5% of large and medium companies and up to 60% of small firms throughout the world do not have an accountant. By doing so, organizations can save a considerable part of their money.
Если компания занимается малым бизнесом и ведет упрощенную форму бизнеса,
Small companies which decided to increase their personnel will have to keep their account reports in a different way. However, such companies are free from a routine recruitment work and personnel management.
Рутинные работы по подбору персонала, по обслуживанию этого персонала, по взаимодействию с людьми, трудовыми взаимодействиями.
Statistically, almost 50% of employable population of Kazakhstan is not satisfied with their work. It results in up to $350 billion of economic losses annually, as far as negligence reduces labor performance by almost 20%. The reason for negative attitude towards work usually becomes the wrong choice of profession in young age. Some people have to abandon their profession because it becomes not demanded on the labor market and then choose a popular one which they do not like much. According to an international recruiting company, the demand for workers in the sphere of food and consumer goods production, pharmaceuticals, retail, as well as for professional marketing manager has risen significantly. In the meantime, the list of most in-demand specialists in Kazakhstan differs from the global one. The highest salaries in Kazakhstan, on the average $2,000 per month, are in the mining sector. Top managers with salaries from $1,000 is on the second place. Construction workers and IT specialists with salaries from $800 close the top three. More than 80% of able-bodied people in Europe have jobs. Germany, Sweden, Belgium and France, where the unemployment level is lower than 10%, are considered the most sustainable countries. The United Kingdom, where 95% of economically active population has permanent jobs, heads the list. Therefore, since recently the UK has been considered the most fast-growing nation in Western Europe. Despite the considerably high employment level, many states lack labor force. Talented people in the sphere of information technologies and public health are most in demand. Almost all the European countries need doctors. Only last year, 2 million vacancies were opened for medics. It is explained by very strict requirements towards applicants. In order to get a job in a European hospital, a person needs to pass several exams, have a perfect knowledge of the medical terminology and prove the qualification. Far from everyone passed these tests. The high life expectancy and aging society in Europe have triggered the need in social care workers. Experts think that nurses and ward attendants will be in demand at least during 5 years. Along with that, there are a lot of vacancies in the services sector, such as drivers, shop assistants and service personnel. Thus, most of workers in the UK, Germany, France and Sweden are employed in this sphere. There are also many online job offers. Many young people in Europe choose the internet as the main business area. It can be explained by the low barrier to entry. In other words, no investment is required. The youth has chosen this way, and many of them also give preference to co-working. Doctor is the most prestigious profession in Germany. The monthly wage of a chief physician there achieves 5,000 euros. Regional school teachers also have good salaries of about 7,000 euros. At the same time, profits of accountants and managers are much lower. Traffic and family lawyers are especially popular, and their revenues sometimes reach 90,000 euros annually. Asian countries prevail in the top 10 of states with the lowest unemployment level. In Japan, India, China and Korea, the number of unemployed people does not even exceed 4%. The government of China annually allots about 4 trillion yuans on the construction of urban facilities and support of small and medium businesses, which can provide new workplaces. Japan authorities keep to the same policy by assigning more than $1 billion on the opening of new enterprises. In spite of the governmental support, the region still has problems related with unemployment. The situation is particularly acute with newly qualified specialists with higher education. According to the statistics, each third postgraduate cannot find a proper job due to the excessive number of financial specialists and managers. Along with that, young people are often ignored by employers due to the lack of working experience. In order to solve this problem, professional development centers were opened in some countries. The most ordinary professions in China and South Korea are general workers, porters, shop assistants and construction workers. Their monthly wage usually does not exceed $300. proper job offers are published in newspapers or special websites. Seasonal workers with a salary of $1,500 are also in demand. Office workers, such as lawyers, accountants and managers, usually earn no more than $2,000. The US is the country with the highest workforce productivity in the world, concluded international experts. According to their calculations, one American worker produces goods to the value of $50,000 annually. Meanwhile, in Japan, this figure reaches 40,000 and in Germany only 36,000 euros. High-performance ability has allowed the US to become a leader among the world's most developed economies.
Это создаст новые рабочие места, потому что эти роботы нужно будет создавать.
It will further the creation of new workplaces. There will be a demand for specialists who would construct and maintain these robots. It is a challenge, so we should not expect any job cuts.
Дальше будет еще сложнее, и поэтому явного сокращения рабочих мест в общем количестве, я думаю, его не будет.
Currently, 70% of economically active population in the world has permanent jobs. 25% give preference to underworking or freelancing. The rest are in search of their work. As soon as within 5 years, bank workers, tour operators, accountants and even farmers are at risk as they can be replaced by robots and biotechnologists. Upon that, the popular and profitable professions will be those on which depend human lives. Doctors, anesthetists and surgeons with the annual wage of almost $200,000 head the list of the most in-demand specialists. They are followed by passenger aircraft pilots with $150,000 annually. Lawyers, marketing specialists and managing directors with the salary of more than $100,000 annually are in the third position. For those who are still in search of their role in the life, special programs for unemployed people have been developed. Their participants attend theoretical and practical classes during 1 year before getting their qualifications. Each third student finds a permanent job with a salary of $300 per month. Such programs also foresee so-called social workplaces. Employers change their requirements to potential job seekers from year to year. Thus, 5 years ago, being capable to fulfill multitask jobs was one of the main requirements. Nowadays, it is stress resistance and mobility. Still, it should be noted that in general, employers' wishes do not change radically as time goes on. Employers change their requirements to potential job seekers from year to year. Thus, 5 years ago, being capable to fulfill multitask jobs was one of the main requirements. Nowadays, it is stress resistance and mobility. Still, it should be noted that in general, employers' wishes do not change radically as time goes on. Approximately each third vacancy or more than 28% of employers require from job seekers to be responsible. Other most frequent requirements towards applicants are communication skills, competence, stress resistance and punctuality. Along with that, they should be able to work in a team, loyal and organized. Personal branding in social network is one of new and popular ways of job seeking. It has become a usual thing that people publish their CVs, photos, architectural projects and scientific articles on their personal web pages. In the list of the strangest professions, you can find a golf ball diver. These people not only help the rich bet shots, but also make extra money on selling of second-hand equipment for this game. Each item taken from the bottom of the pond is evaluated at 6 cents. The annual profit from selling such things can reach $100,000.